Welcome to the Transfer Exchange Show and an international break where England... Oh, what is going on there? What is going on there? This is the magic of live, people. We did have Steve K with us, but all of a sudden he disappeared. Welcome to Transfer Exchange Show in the international break. We've got plenty to discuss tonight. We're going to be discussing... Did anyone see the journalist talking about Jude Bellingham with Thomas Tuchel? Was it me? Is it just me? Did it feel like that journalist was targeting him? Craig Hope, his name is. And apparently, it's not the first time he's written about Jude Bellingham. In fact, it seems like he has a bit of a thing for Jude Bellingham. We're joined by Steve K. How are you doing, Steve? Can you hear me? For some reason, we're having technical difficulties there, but we'll carry on while Steve's getting on in the background. There was the press conference with England manager Thomas Tuchel. He was asked about Jude Bellingham's demeanour, to which he gave an answer. It seemed like he was trying to move on from it a little bit, only for the journalist to double down and add a little bit more to it, which I felt was a bit of a strange one. Can you hear me, Steve?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. I'm sorry about the thing is the electric's gone.
Oh. What are the chances?
The fuse has gone in the light, and so I'm using the lamp at the minute, which, as you can see, isn't great. So we've got problems here. Yeah,
it's working. The sound's working.
You can hear me, but there's obviously it doesn't look that great. Not that I look that great anyway.
It's all right. Don't worry. It's perfectly fine. Also, there was a little bit of England scored a couple of good goals the other day, and it seemed like the focus was very much on Phil Foden when the focus should have probably been on the goal. We're going to be discussing that as well, and we've seen a few injuries during the international break, mostly with Arsenal at the moment. Calafiori out or sent back home early for Arsenal after an assessment from Italy. But unfortunately for Arsenal, Gabriel Magalhaes injured himself in the Brazil friendly against Senegal, and it looks like his injury will see him sidelined for a few weeks at least. Before we get onto the show, before we talk to Steve, press that like if you are on YouTube, press that share button. It really, really does help. And if you are new to the show, press that subscribe button. If you're watching on Twitter, press that like, press that share, and get involved in the comment section, whether you're on Twitter or whether you're on YouTube as well. Thank you for joining us so far. Let's get the comments in there. Let's see your thoughts on these topics today as well. All right. Steve, first and foremost, I want to pull up a little bit of footage from the England press conference the other day. Journalist was asking Thomas Tuchel a question about the game, and then mentioned a few things about the goal and a certain player's demeanour. And we'll have a little conversation about it afterwards.
We will not change our decision just because someone is waving with the arms.
When he was going to come off, I mean, most of your players are going off to the corner to celebrate with Harry.
It was 2-0, no?
Yeah, for the second goal. Yeah. And then you've got one player who's kind of not...
He didn't celebrate?
Well, he's flinging his arms in the air and clearly not happy about
coming
off.
Did you see already that he needs to go out?
It looked like it, yeah. And it doesn't seem like it's someone who's embracing the collective from afar.
But it's a bad impression. First of all, it's your impression, and then this is bad because it should be about the collective. And I think what we did in camp is all about the collective. I have to then review it because I was very happy about the goal. I had a quick talk with Morgan Rogers, and I was sure that everyone will celebrate together. I will have a look at it. But yeah, that's not the image that we want to transport, because we feel that everyone is committed and everyone accepts also a tough decision, be it before the match or in the match, and it excludes no one.
We saw there at the start where the journalists made a point about the way Jude Bellingham reacted to coming off the pitch. He wasn't happy. Something like we see quite often in football, players not happy about being substituted, whether it's they thought they could do more in the game or they're upset about their own performances. It could be anything. We could sit here second guessing what was going through Jude Bellingham's mind at the time. But it seemed like it was kind of brushed off a little bit from Thomas Tuchel, only for the journalists to add a little bit more to that and then talk about the celebration, which he felt that Jude Bellingham didn't partake in the celebration and seemed to be upset. And there was a few times, if you listen to what he says that most of the players celebrated, and then he points out, and this is one player doesn't. So I was a bit confused by his language there. Did he mean that most players celebrated, or all players celebrated, or all players bar one celebrated? What it seems to me is because Thomas Tuchel didn't bite on the first incident about the way he came off the pitch, he then added to that about the celebration. I just found it a little bit, I don't know. I didn't really like it. I felt like the journalist was trying to make a point of something that wasn't really much. I mean, you can make a point about how Jude Bellingham reacted when he was substituted.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a bit naughty the way that he tried to add more to it by making a point like he didn't seem a part of the collective. That's what I didn't like. I thought that was a bit, I don't know, it felt a little bit underhand. It felt like it was like, it's almost like you've told the teacher something and they didn't really bite it, so you told them more and then try to add more to get him in trouble. I just didn't really like the tone of where the journalist was going there. What was your thoughts on the clip, Steve?
Yeah, I mean the question itself, they ask, the follow-on question from first of all, I think the first question, that was news. I think he had a right to do that, and we can talk about that after or whatever. But the second question, I think you're right. I think he's now trying to, find something else. He's looking to get some reaction out of Thomas Tuchel, and I don't see the need for the question. It seems a little bit, I don't know, what's the right word? What's the word I'm looking for? Firstly, I don't think there was any need for the question, and I think personally for me, as a fan and watching, I don't see the relevance of the question anyway. The fact that did he know the fact that he didn't celebrate? Loads of players don't celebrate.
Yeah,
not all players celebrate when a goal's scored. I mean, how many times do you see a goal scored for our team that we watch, or you're watching just a match on the TV and someone will score and 5 or 6 players will run over and celebrate, and the other 5 will walk back to the centre circle, and not celebrating. So, yeah, the journalist is digging, but I think what he's done as well. I think he's made a little bit of a fool of himself, the journalist, because of the actual question that was made. Because it was like a thing like, why are you asking that? And if I was Tuchel, I was sitting there and I was asked that question. My reply with me, I said, well, not every player celebrates. But whether Tuchel sort of like has got something that he doesn't like about Bellingham, and whether when that question was asked that It was a little bit more of, oh yeah, maybe Jew should have celebrated. This is a little bit something else. Whether there's something between them that maybe he doesn't like and he doesn't like his attitude, that he was saying else that Tuchel could add to him after and speak to him about. But personally, I don't see nothing of it, mate. If he didn't celebrate the goal, specifically the goal, I don't see a problem in it.
Yeah.
And I think the question was a silly question because not every player celebrates.
Yeah.
When they score a goal, and especially, what one was it now? Was it was the 2-0 game? Was it?
It's the second one against Albania.
And what the score that was
2-0.
2-0. Yeah, I mean, and it was a nothing game anyway, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's not like he didn't celebrate in a quarter final, the World Cup, or a quarter final of the. Then you'd be like, oh, what's going on? Well, what are you moaning about? Then there might be a little bit more of a thing about it. But not, I don't see anything in it, mate. But I think you're right. I I don't see the relevance of the question. But again, what I will say, I think the journalist himself's made a little bit full of himself by asking it. Look, it's just a silly question. Personally, that's what I think, anyway.
Yeah, it felt like, to be fair, I thought Tuchel handled it quite well. I think what Tuchel did was give a little bit of what the journalist wanted to hear at the end when he said, "Do you know what? I'll look into that," because I think that's what the journalist wanted to hear.
Yeah, that's what I wanted. That's what I meant by when I said like maybe Tuchel's like, oh, now I've got something else to go at Jude now. Maybe there's something between them. I don't know.
I think that's what the journalist wanted. I think the journalist wanted. Okay, I'll look into that. I feel like the initial point which he tried to make about how Jude Bellingham reacted when he came off, Tuchel was quite dismissive of it because he said,
I think that's worse.
I'm not gonna change my plans because the players waved his hands about, and I don't think the journalist. I don't think he wanted that reaction. I think he wanted a more of a reaction of, we can't have that in the team. We want a level of discipline. And I think he was fishing for the answers that he wanted.
Do you think maybe he wanted maybe he thought he'd get a better, like you said, think he might have got a better answer for that first question, or maybe a longer.
I think he was looking for it.
Yeah.
Which is why he's added a little bit more, and that doesn't feel like he's part of the collective. And I thought that was. I didn't really like that at all. I think it felt like it was feeding into a narrative. I felt like it was a bit of a loaded point. I didn't like the tone of the point that he was trying to make. Like Jude Bellingham's a problem. He's a bad egg. He's not buying into what everyone else is. I personally think that this journalist doesn't like Jude Bellingham's attitude and thinks he's a bit arrogant. And I think he wants him to be put in his place. And I think he felt like that was happening when Jude Bellingham got dropped. And he felt that by saying this feeds a little bit into the reason why Thomas Tuchel dropped Bellingham. And I think he was just being a bit of a, I don't know. I didn't like it. I didn't like the tone. No. I don't like the way that some journalists are when it comes to these England camps before the World Cup. I think there's a lot, and it has been for years. The journalists in England feel like they have the say in the team that's selected, in the team that goes to the World Cup and to these big tournaments. I feel like the journalists feel like they're the voice of us, and this is what us people want, and we're going to speak on their behalf. And it's been like that for years. It's been like that going back to when Theo Walcott was debate whether Theo Walcott or Sean White-Phillips should go to the World Cup, or the debate whether certain other players should go to the World Cup. And it has been like that for years and years and years. Who should be England captain? Rah, rah, rah. And it's just a bit of I've always found it a bit of an odd one. And I think we're seeing that again. The power of the journalist is very much around.
The interest in how players performed, the interest in the actual game itself is secondary now, mate. That's how it looks to me. And it's one of the things that, it's killing the game. Slowly, things like
Yeah, it is definitely killing the game. That is not an exaggeration.
no,
I think that with the spite in the way that a lot of mainstream media, not just the journalists and the papers and online, mainstream media as a whole has shifted towards populism, which is essentially what's online is what we're going to feed into, is the narrative we're feeding into, because we know that it will be picked up by a lot of the people online. But what that does is then it then validates an agenda, or it validates an opinion which has come from someone who's not in the game. It comes from someone who may have an agenda, and it's just a weird way. It's all gone a bit backwards.
Yeah, or someone that's willing to sell out.
Yeah, that's the problem,
and that's what it is. I mean, I've not first-hand experience. I'm going to say first-hand experience, but I know of someone I've had a conversation with, as a former professional footballer who used to work for a large sports broadcasting, company. I won't say who this thing is. This people are, but think of the biggest, and you're there. But this guy, who, in my opinion, was someone who gave fantastic football opinion, was just interested in how the game played and how the players was and all that, was told that he wasn't getting his contract renewed, and someone got brought in who, instead of him, who basically was a yes sir, no sir, free baseball. So here's a script. Can you read it? And that's a fact. And that's a fact. And so it just shows you where these people are going.
Do you know what? I was just in the background watching the England second goal, and in all honesty, I think that journalist is a troublemaker. I've just watched the second goal. 4 or 5 people celebrated. 4 or 5 people celebrated, and the way he made out that Jude Bellingham didn't celebrate with a team like it was a thing. Jude Bellingham ran into the goal to get the ball and then ran back to the halfway line. Like, it's not even like that. It's not even like Jude Bellingham shown a bit of attitude and gone, sod that. It's all in one motion. He runs in, the ball goes in the back of the net, he runs in, gets the ball, and then runs back to the halfway line. There's no attitude whatsoever with Jude Bellingham in that second goal. So I don't know what the journalist was talking about. For me, it definitely feels like he was fishing for another something and trying to make his own point, because he didn't get the response that he wanted from the way that Jude Bellingham got substituted. And it's just, nasty work, I think. We saw Ian Wright made a...
There's a lot of nasty stuff going on, mate, in the mainstream media these days. There is.
Yeah, we've seen Ian Wright make a point, and he says they need to create this kind of beef because there's nothing else to talk about to the World Cup. So it's going to be all the way to the World Cup. The hate they can get to him. They hate that they can't get to him. They hate that they can't get the negativity to influence the club career like they have done with so many before him. A blessed young man with talent and love and in abundance. And look, Jude Bellingham's one of those players who seems like he's got the mentality to completely ignore this. I don't feel like it would affect him. He's at Real Madrid, a place where headlines can go left to right in the like a change of a wind. So he's got to be mentally resilient to be able to handle this sort of thing. And as Ian Wright's right, he's going to get this until the end of the World Cup. If a journalist has got a bee in his bonnet about him, it's not going to go away anytime soon. He just had to prove his performances on the pitch and that he's worthy of his spot and he's worthy of his place at the World Cup, which I think he is. Because I think any team is better with Jude Bellingham in it. So hopefully he just brushes that aside and it gets ignored. And like you said, I do think that the journalist has made himself look a little bit silly because he's been called out by quite a few people. And if anyone looks back at that second goal, they'll see there's completely nothing in it from what that journalist is talking about.
It's like what I said, mate. People just turn around and walk back to the centre circle. That's what they do.
Yeah, and it is like you said. There's like 4 or 5 people that are around Harry Kane that immediately celebrate with him. The rest walk back.
Yeah,
And Juven just happens to, in the momentum of running into the goal, gets the ball and runs back to the halfway line. Like, yeah, it's absolutely something out of nothing.
If he was sulking and it was a last-minute equaliser in a really important game, then you'd think, you know, what's the matter? You know, why won't you? Nah, nothing, mate, for me. Nothing.
Something of nothing. We saw more people, a little bit of uproar the other day when Bukayo Saka and Eberechi Eze, the 2 Arsenal players, scored for England. And the main focus around the goals seemed to be Phil Foden. It was a bit of a strange one. Again, before we go on, I know a lot of Man City fans seem to be feeling like Phil Foden's targeted here. This is no hate on Phil Foden whatsoever. And of course, you're going to get faceless accounts online, like poorly articulating a way of talking about Eberechi Eze and Saka in a good light without being able to talk disparagingly about Phil Foden. Some people just can't do it. They can't articulate it. It's the hot or not. Is either good or rubbish. Like there's no in between with some of these people. So you got to give them some grace, like, or just ignore it. But you have to admit, it was a bit of a weird headline to say that Phil Foden had put it on a plate to Eberechi Eze when Eberechi Eze had to wrap it top bins. I mean, and that's what I think people are getting a bit confused about. When you say to put it on a plate, that's essentially your imagination would go, Eze's had to put it's a tap in. It's an open goal. It's on a plate. That's what you mean by it's on a plate. So maybe the wording of the person who posted online was a bit off. But then the focus on the afterwards as well from both pundits and journalists alike was to focus a little bit, in my eyes, a bit too much on the pass from Foden, which was a nicely rated pass. Don't get me wrong, but
you see it every week, didn't you? And it doesn't get mentioned.
You do. But come on, like we're talking about a goal where he's just wrapped it top bins, and we're talking about the pass from Foden. Yeah. It's a bit of a strange one, weren't it, Steve?
Oh yeah, it was really strange. It was really strange. I mean, you said it all there. I mean, I mean, for me, he played the ball to Eze, and Eze had a hell of a lot to do from when he got the ball from Foden. Yeah. You know, I think beforehand, I think Bellingham played the ball from Bellingham to Foden was more, you know, of note, you know, than the Foden ball to Eze, because I think the ball from Eze was about. Don't quote me on this. I think Bellingham played a nice ball through to Foden. Yeah. You know, like cut it through the lines, through like about a 15-yard pass to him, which I thought was that's a good ball. And that's what at first I thought they surpassed the Foden bit, that didn't exist, and that was the actual pass to Eze. And I thought, oh no, well, that would have been a good ball from Bellingham to Eze. But the Foden to feed to Eze one, yeah, I mean, we see that every day of the week, mate. Every day of the week. If we were praising that, you know, in the Premier League every week, I mean, geez, do you know what I mean? We'd be praising every single player, and every single player in, you know, that's got a contract at a club, you know, they'd be on the back of the papers. Yeah. So, yeah, look, he played all what he did for me was he played the pass, but me and you could have probably, if we was in that position, could have played the same pass. It wasn't great. It was okay. But then Eze had to do what he had to do.
And a lovely finish from Eze.
It was a beautiful finish from Eze.
And he handled the question well as well. Like, I saw people say that, well, even Eze said it was a quality pass. Yeah, but he's going to. He's
he ain't going to say, well, I don't know about that. Yeah. He said, if I'm Eze, and if you said to me, like, oh, he laid it on a plate for you, Eze, a great ball from Phil, I'll go, yeah, lovely ball from Phil. But in my head, I'll be going, like, is he taking But he ain't going to come out and say that, is he? He probably went off the pitch, went to Saka, and he said, he's just asking me about Foden's little pasta that he made for me. And I just got bins. Do you know what I mean? I guarantee you, he think that any person, like, you would. You'd be like, hold on a minute. Yeah. So I'm sure that come into his head at some point, whether it was at that minute when he was answered the question or when he's walking back to the changing room. So I'm sure he was like, what? But
he was probably a bit miffed as to why he was asked so much about Foden's goal. Pass. See what I mean? I'm doing it myself. Yeah. It wasn't Foden's goal. It was Foden's pass.
But I don't see your first point about, Eze, Saka, Foden, and all this. I don't know why people just can't. Foden's a good player. Yeah. Why is it? Why can't they just play, do their bit without, like some faceless wonder? And there's too many of them out there lately. And you went on to say they're not just faceless wonders, some of them. Some of them are like known journalists and reporters. But why people just can't, accept that a player's done well and in the next breath, they have to compare him with Saka or Palmer. Do you know what I mean? It's getting too much now. It really is getting too much. We all like to compare and this and that. But this getting to ridiculous where, as soon as a geezer has the next game, this stats, put up. Or look what Foden's done, look what Saka's done. It's getting ridiculous, to be honest with you.
Yeah, there is, and as you said there, it is killing the game. It's killing the enjoyment of the game. Saka has a good game, and then someone's comparing it to one of their club players, Esteval, I think was the latest one. Declan Rice is a good game. Arsenal fans think that Declan Rice is actually what Casado is. It's like, could you just not enjoy your own team? Can you not enjoy your own players playing well? Why do you have to always have this constant comparison? Why do you feel the need that it needs to be your player that's in the limelight? It is getting stupid.
But we never did it, did we? When in the days of we go back to the eras that we loved. And you look at the Arsenal, you look at Vieira, in the game, and you look at Keane, and you look at Gerrard and Lampard, right? You just watched them with awe. You hated them when they did something great because they was your rivals, and you just didn't want them to do it because they did it all the time. But there was like a respect about it. You didn't think as soon as Vieira had a good game, you never thought, well, look, you see what I mean? He's better than Keane. or he was, when Hazard done something good, you didn't say, look at Perez's stats this season and all that. It never happened. It's ridiculous. Again, it's another thing that's killing the game.
Yeah, constant comparisons, but it does feel like there's a lot more bigger accounts and bigger YouTube channels and fan media that's starting to call it out now. I see quite a few people. Some people have even got like whole shows on how these things are killing the game. So the more and more we call it out, I think the less likely it's going to continue. Because people are getting a little bit bored of it.
The only thing I do worry about is that you mentioned it early on, is that the mainstream media are getting involved in it. And that's a problem. That's a big problem. That is.
Yeah, because it validates the nonsense.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly it does. It does. We've seen quite a few injuries during the international duty. Two of them happened to be Arsenal players. Ricardo Calafiori, who was already had a slight knock before he went away, was asked to be assessed by the Italian national doctors, which they said it was too much of a risk to play him, so they've sent him back home. But Brazil did not feel that way, and they felt the need to play Gabriel. I can understand why Gabriel would want to play. It's a game at the Emirates for his country, and I think we've got to remember is Gabriel has only recently just broke into the Brazil national team, so I think he wants to show his worth and show that he can be available for the team because he wants his place at the World Cup. But I think at times like this, I think a bit of common sense should have prevailed. And if Gabriel had that much of was an injury concern before the game to the point where they were training with him on his own so he didn't overdo it in the warm-up, it may have been smarter to leave him out, but they didn't. And he's pulled up in an injury, and it looks like the injury could potentially be between 3 to 8 weeks. We don't know the severity of it yet. But what's your take on it, Steve? Do you think that Brazil were a little bit careless in this situation? Do you think they should have erred on the side of caution and thought a little bit more long-term about Gabriel's injuries? Or do you think they would every right to play him and they wanted to test it to see how bad it was?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the what the process is like when they call someone up. I mean, sometimes is he if you phone up, Arteta, is he fit? Are the Brazil medical team, whoever the manager of Brazil, how are you, Gabriel? Do you feel good? As your injury, are you holding up? Can you play? Can you not play? And then I think you've got to put a little bit of blame on the player, maybe a little bit, But he's obviously turned man and said, "I feel good. I can play." Because I'm surely that if he had felt anything or he felt bad, then he wouldn't have played. So then who do you blame after that? Do you blame the medical team of Brazil? I mean, they don't see him week in and week out, do they? They see him for like a week or two. Yeah. So they're relying on what the more. It's not like he's like it's not like he's his club. They're club managers. They can sort of like monitor him, and watch him in training and see if he's up to the levels or whatever. They're basically relying on what the club says, his club says, and what he says. So I'm assuming that's the way it works. And so for the blame wise, I don't know. I lean towards the player and Arsenal a little bit because if he had a knock, they should have just said, well, you got a knock, you need to rest. You're not going. Because with Calafiori, I don't think did he actually play?
No, he didn't play. But
did he? So that's
they told the Italian Federation that he had a bit of a knock, and they asked him to fly out so they could assess him themselves. Yeah. So I'm guessing the conversations would have been had in the same light with the Brazilian national team. That potentially there were some concerns. And he did warm up separately to the team as well for a little bit.
Yeah, now that sounds a little bit more professional, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? The way it should have been done. Yeah, dodgy, not right. You're not feeling good. You got a little bit of a knock. Let's get you back home.
Yeah,
have a rest. Chill out.
Yeah, they didn't feel the need to risk it based on the fact that I think they would need a 9-goal swing to overtake Norway.
Yeah,
and it weren't happening. So they didn't want to take that risk with Calafiori.
So, I mean, it's for Arsenal. It's not great. I mean, it looks like Calafiori will be all right.
Yeah.
But and I mean, again, it goes back to something I've said for many years. If you take away the fact that the way the injury came about and what should have been done, what should have been said, blah de blah. Then, other than that, you've got to look at these. I mean, it's too many friendlies, mate, for me. It's just like it's stop start all the time. Excuse me, stop start all the season. that can't help with players' injuries all the time. You're going from one place, you're playing at a different level. You know, I've heard from professional footballers told me before. You know, you go there, you're at a certain up here, fitness wise, where you have to run, and then or not so much run, and then you're asked to do different things in training. Training things change, and you pick up injuries, and it seems to be happening more and more international. And I don't know why that is. Is it? I don't know. I think there's a lot to do with it. We're playing in these meaningless friendlies all the time. I think there's too many. I think there's too many games, mate. Too many games.
Yeah, I agree. There are too many games, and I think that UEFA, FIFA, all the federations need to look into the players' welfare, because we've seen players go down with heart issues, and there's we don't want to see players getting injuries, surgery, which we've seen a massive increase over the last few years. We don't want to see players suffer from heart problems.
No.
But we are pushing these players too much, and people will talk about the wages they earn, but they're only human. There's only so much you can push, and as we know, over the years, football's got more intense. Like you're asking for more from football. They're playing more games. We saw a spat of a big increase in player surgeries for all the same injuries, hamstring injuries, groin injuries. And we've seen a large increase in those injuries, and it's not a coincidence. It is not a coincidence.
No.
How do we fix it? There's I don't know. Maybe they've got to expand the amount that people can spend, and we make the squads bigger. It's more like a American football roster, and that way you can spread out the season with essentially 2 sets of teams, a little bit like what Arsenal have got, which is why they're still managing to handle the increase in injuries at the moment, but that hasn't stopped the injuries. I don't know. How do they decrease the amount of games, and how do they do that? It doesn't help the fact that they've added more games to the Champions League, more games to the World Cups.
That's another thing, isn't it?
I don't know what the answer is going to be. I really don't.
I don't think there's an answer.
The league seasons, I don't know. So there's more gaps. Do they have a winter break? How do they fit that in? I don't know. But something needs to be done, because it feels like the only way it's going to change is through some form of disaster happening, and then relating that problem to the fact that the players have played too many games, and by then that'll be too late, because the players are either injured or worse. So I do worry about player welfare.
It ruined the league last season. When it's finished and you look back on the year, I'm not talking about just Arsenal. I'm talking about other teams, Man City as well. The league was a non-league, because basically those two teams were absolutely, ripped to pieces by injuries. And they couldn't compete. And basically ruined last year. As a spectacle, for the fan, as in a title race.
The massive impact on Arsenal, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, we see Rodri and we go down.
Rodri,
Ireland as well, to be fair.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, I've never really been one of these people who's always thought, it's not worth thinking about injuries, because at the end of the day, football's been going since the dawn of whenever, back 150 years, and people just get on with it. So, but you've got to say it. They do make a difference. Injuries do make a difference to where you finish in the league. It does.
Of course, it makes a difference. I'm hoping that Arsenal have countered that by bringing in a higher level of quality amongst the squad, which you have seen. It has alleviated some of the pressure on the likes of Bukayo Saka. And because we have been able to bring in players like Noni Madueke, Mosquera, Hincapié, we've been able to have cover for those positions, which and then the standard hasn't dropped off that much. But it leads into a bit more slightly different is when people are talking about the comments from Thomas Tuchel about Miles Lewis-Skelly and that maybe he should think about being loaned out in January. Well, it only takes the injuries that we have now, a Gabriel injury and a Calafiori injury, and Miles Lewis-Skelly is a first-team starter again. So it's exactly why you don't loan out someone like Miles Lewis-Skelly, because it only takes 2 injuries in 2 positions, and you're in a situation where Miles Lewis-Skelly is going to be needed for the next 6 to 8 weeks. So yeah, don't be too quick to be releasing your players off on a whim off the back of it.
And Arsenal can't start doing things, for England's benefit.
No, certainly not. Certainly not.
So when he said that, I was like, raised a sort of like an eyebrow, as if to say, that's not happening, mate. Do you know what I mean? It's simply not happening. But Tuchel should, again, that comment annoyed me a little bit from him, that he said that he needs to have more game time. I mean, he plays for Arsenal. He's 18 years old. His competition's Ricardo Calafiori, who's been one of the best left backs in the league this season. I mean, you can't just turn around and say, you've got to play more games.
What was your thoughts on that? Because I know some people were a little bit annoyed by Tuchel's comments. I was more annoyed by the response from the media, of course, where all of a sudden clubs were monitoring Miles Lewis-Skelly.
Oh, that's not true. It's like rubbish. That's absolute nonsense. I've had that right.
What I mean, it was like, so no one was saying anything before that, and all of a sudden clubs are monitoring Miles Lewis-Skelly off the back of Thomas Tuchel saying that he needs more minutes to be an England team, which I personally think it's not out of hand for Thomas Tuchel to say that you need to play more if you want to be in the World Cup squad. I think he's the England manager. He's going to have his opinion. He's just being honest with the player. If you want to be in this squad, we need to see you more.
Was it the squad that he said? He said to be in the squad?
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay.
If you want to be in the squad, you've got to be playing more.
I thought it was like start.
I think that's only fair. And I think that's only fair. I think he's just being honest. Look, he's an honest person. He says a lot of things that's going to maybe rub people up the wrong way. A lot of things that haven't been said by previous managers because they keep a lot more things to their chest. He's very straight to the point. And that's what you're going to get with Thomas Tuchel. But the response from the press to make out that Lewis-Skelly should or could potentially look elsewhere to get into this England squad, I think is a bit silly. He could get in this England team out of nowhere off the back of having a really good season, a breakthrough season out of nowhere for Arsenal, and has got into the England squad off the back of that. So to imply that he should or could look elsewhere just to get to this one England World Cup squad, I think is absolutely ludicrous.
Yeah, but what do you think? What do you think of like the fact that you think you said it's fair? So you think it's fair that based on what we see last season, which I think he played about 40 games, Champions League, Real Madrid's, went through the whole season, that he hasn't got it over other players to maybe start? So, or is he just thinking about because you haven't played it? Because the way I looked at it, it looks to me like, right, you're not getting enough games time. Basically, you're 18, you ain't had enough experience. But he's had plenty of experience in massive football matches.
Yeah.
So that's why I was a little bit the other way, because I thought, well, if I'm picking a squad, we know he's got quality. And okay, he's going to find it tough this year because of Calafiori. Surely, based on last season of what you see and big, massive games that this kid played in, surely he makes the squad at least.
Yeah, I think he's basing it on this season. I think he's essentially saying,
yeah,
I need to see you more this season, which is if your amount of game time is based off what we've seen so far this season, it may be a bit of a struggle for me to pick you. Because if let's say if he was only getting substitute appearance and maybe cup games for the remainder of the season, it's touch and go whether he's seen you enough to say that you get a spot in over someone else who would have played every game this season or the majority of games this season. We've got Nico O'Reilly, who's had a really good season with Man. He's a really good young player.
Yeah, he is.
It's nice to see him in the team. So you'd think that if he continues to play this season with Man City, he'd get a spot in the team if he does well.
Yeah.
It's who's the other options in that left back role.
So who's the main sort of left backs who starts for England now? Who is it?
Well, we've seen
Who's the backup?
We've seen Jed Spence come in the team, who could be seen as a versatile player in the England squad. He's a right back. But he has been playing left back. So Nico O'Reilly played the other day for England, and who played the other game? O'Reilly played twice. So who would it have been? Who would have come in?
There's not a lot out there.
It looks like it would have been Jed Spence that would have come in that left back role.
It sounds to me like if he is genuinely basing it on this season, which I'm a little bit. Well, I don't think you should be. I think you should be looking at last season as well. What the kid's done in big matches and stood up. The way he was against Man City, he was excellent against Real Madrid. I could go on. I think you should be looking at it. But if he is basing it on this season, like you said, then I can't see him going. If that's his train of thought, I'd take him if it was me. If it was me, I wouldn't be doing that. I'd look at like overall this season, last season. I'd look at it because he's not going to get in front of Calafiori if he's playing like this. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So I feel a little bit sorry for them, for Miles Lewis-Skelly, if that's Tuchel's train of thought.
I think
we'll have to wait and see.
I think Tuchel having him in the squad previously, because he had him in one squad this season, didn't he, already? And that's when he was told that he needs to play more. I think that the fact that he will be on Tuchel's mind will be based on last season. But actually getting into the squad will be based on how much he's played this season. And I think that I personally think that Miles Lewis-Skelly will have enough games this season and will go to the World Cup. If he's on the form that he played last season, coming this season, I think he's played well. And I think with the amount of games we will play this season, he will go to the World Cup. I think the squad is stronger with Miles Lewis-Skelly in the team. Yeah. He's a better player than Jed Spence.
Yeah.
He has versatility. And I think he's completely different to what they have as well. So I think that England will benefit from taking a Miles Lewis-Skelly in that squad.
I do like taking my Arsenal. I do like Nico O'Reilly.
Yeah, he's a good player. Really good. And I think that if Nico O'Reilly is a starter for Man City,
like him.
Yeah, if he's a starter for Man City, if he plays week in, week out, then he starts for England over Miles Lewis-Skelly because
definitely
Miles Lewis-Skelly's not been a starter, and I think that's fair. And he's a really, really good player, Nico O'Reilly. Similar style.
I don't take him over Jed Spence. I don't take him over Jed. I like Jed Spence. I think he's done. I think he's like stepped up a level from what he was. But I don't put him over Lewis-Skelly at the minute.
Neither do I. So that remains to be seen what England do with Miles Lewis-Skelly. I hope he does go. I think it'd be really good.
Yeah.
I think it'd be really good for Miles Lewis-Skelly to go for the World Cup. I think it would benefit England having a player like Miles Lewis-Skelly in the squad as well. So it remains to be seen what.
Yeah, and there's obviously a lot of Arsenal players in the England squad, so it's always a little bonus. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, especially when you look at, you know, the Arsenal probably got Declan Rice, Saka, maybe even Eze as starters. You know, for England, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see. There's plenty of options for this World Cup. At the moment, we've seen a few teams qualify. We've seen the likes of England already qualified, France, Croatia, Portugal, and the other day we saw Norway qualify. Finally, we've seen Norway qualify for a major tournament for the first time in years. We get to see the likes of Erling Haaland on the biggest stage. Martin Ødegaard. I'm sure he has a few things to say to Tony Adams about the fact that he's managed to captain Norway into the World Cup. So it'll be good to see players like Ødegaard and Haaland at the World Cup, Steve, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah, definitely, mate. Definitely, mate. I think I don't know if it was the Euros or was it last World Cup. I don't know. Time goes so quick. I can remember them not qualifying for saying and being quite gutted that they weren't going to be there. I think it was the Euros. It wasn't the Euros.
Was it Serbia? Was that one?
Yeah. And I can remember being like,
yeah, it's a shame.
I mean, it's a shame. Do you know what I mean? You want to see good players, you know, like Ireland and Ødegaard. I mean, players like that will just be like a massive benefit. And yeah, it'll certainly get me watching those games. So it's great for everybody. I do like the Scandinavian countries when they go to the World Cups. You know, their fans are great. You know, they bring great atmospheres and that, like the Iceland and Sweden's and you know, Norway. You know, will be the same. But yeah, I can't wait, mate. Do you know what I mean? For the team, it's good. It's good. I mean, Italy is a little bit. If they don't qualify again.
That's a bit of a weird one. That one. I saw what's his name talking about the fact that
Carlo
talking about the fact that the qualifications isn't really fair, and it seems to be a bit biased towards the South American teams. I mean, I've just seen that who is it? New Zealand qualified their group by beating North Caledonia 3-0 in the Oceania qualifications. Yet Italy, who have won 90% of their games, might not go to the World Cup.
How do you feel about that? How do you feel about? Do you think the World Cup should be about the best?
Yeah, of course it should be about the best.
Just the best, not like let's pick a couple of ones from the Far East.
We want to see nations have an opportunity. But we spoke about this. Me and Gar spoke about this before, and we feel like the qualification should be like staggered a little bit. Like those smaller teams should have a separate qualification to then be in a playoff against these bigger teams. I don't like the way it's set up. I know that what they're doing now is they're trying to get as many teams into the World Cup as well, but that's all about money, and it's all about getting the votes and why he's the current FIFA president is how it works. I scratch your back and make sure your team gets into the World Cup, and you make sure I'm the president. But yeah, it don't seem right having a team like Italy potentially not going to a World Cup. You want to see the best teams in there. And
I mean, Italy's great. I mean, I love Italy being there just for the national anthem. That's what I just love that.
Oh, the suits as well.
I love that. Eh?
The suits, they always come looking fresh.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They don't. The Italian and their design, and they're the best in the world.
Yeah, they turn up. They turn up. And we saw absolute scenes yesterday. as Troy Parrott.
What?
Troy Parrott gives
Come
hope
on.
to Republic of Ireland with a last-ditch goal against Hungary, breaking Hungary's hearts. They're into the playoffs, along with Albania, Czech Republic, Italy, and Ukraine. But what scenes we saw last night? Troy
I had
Parrott
goosebumps. I had
getting
goosebumps.
emotional.
I'm like Irish.
Troy Parrott getting emotional on camera as well. It meant so much to them. They were down and out, but they just gave it their all towards till the end, showing heart and spirit and getting that winner. And yeah, like I said, keeping hopes alive for Ireland to get to a World Cup. Again, another team I'd like to see at World Cup. Obviously, there's Irish affiliation with me, but again, the crowd excellent. Like the Scots, they bring the atmosphere. They bring a great crowd, a great attitude. And you want to see those teams at the World Cup.
Yeah, 100%, mate. It was that game against Hungary. You know what I mean? What a game! You know, what a game it was. You know, when they went 2-1 up, didn't they?
Yeah.
You know, and you got Szoboszlai doing the old crying the eyes and all that stuff, and thinking that they was through, and that come back to him, didn't it? You know what I mean? Yeah, it was great, mate. Yeah, I mean, I had goosebumps. You know, and I say I'm not Irish. There could be Irish blood in my body, but I can't. Yeah, I mean, if I'll be watching it, you know, in the qualifier, and I just keep my fingers crossed. I just hope they go through. Spoken to a few Irish fans and people I know. I mean, well, the country come to a standstill. You know, there wasn't many people at work the next day. So, and if you know how the Irish celebrate, they celebrate with style. You know what I mean? They know how to celebrate. And yeah, as I said, not many people were going to work. I'm telling you. But it's great, mate. It's great. They get to quite a few World Cups, didn't they? Ireland. You know, I can remember going back and being there. Maybe not recent times, but again, great fans. You know, make it a spectacle. Just fingers crossed now they get through again, like as well as Scotland do. I hope they go through as well, because it's not about rivalry, and not for me anyway. It's about football entertainment, and when you're watching it being a spectacle, and these countries being at the World Cup will make it that. Just hope they get through, both of them.
And potentially a positive bit of injury news for Arsenal ahead of the North London derby. Martin Odegaard didn't play for Norway, but did travel with them. He's been doing that since on this whole journey to the World Cup. He said that it was a little bit too early to potentially play in the qualifying game, but maybe we get to see him ahead of the North London derby. If not, it'll be very soon afterwards. And it seems like Arsenal got quite a few players coming back as well. Noni Madueke, Gabriel Martinelli, Gabriel Jesus as well, potentially.
Really great to see him training, mate. Did you see the video of him doing a little bit of training, doing a bit of warm up? I think he did a video on it. I think I clocked it.
Yeah.
On Jesus, and we spoke about quite a few times, haven't we, about him moving on and going to another club, hard to get game time. But I think it was you who said it. I don't want to be guilty of nicking your words, but a fit Gabriel Jesus, Arsenal are a better squad with him than that. That's sure.
100%. And I think that I wouldn't even contemplate sending him in January. I don't see the point. I think you hold on to him until the end of the season, because he may be able to offer something which could be the difference. We've seen right now that we've got 3 strikers in the team and they're all out. So this is not a time for Arsenal, do you think, contemplating selling anyone.
No, I don't think they're going to. You won't see anybody go in January. I'm pretty positive of that.
Which is good.
Trossard's another one who was, at the beginning of the summer was thinking, maybe he'll move on. Hard to get game time. But boys,
Trossard's been excellent so far this season.
absolutely fantastic.
He's been brilliant.
Why do we sometimes? I'm guilty of it.
I'm guilty of it.
You know,
Do you know
we
what it is?
doubt,
We get
why do we
frustrated.
doubt some players?
Frustrated.
Why do we doubt this guy? This guy does it. You know, he's a fantastic finisher. He steps up in big games. He assists. He scores goals. Yeah, I mean, I can't praise him highly enough. The bloke, you know.
Yeah,
and if
no,
they're happy to
I am
stay,
guilty of it, and I have apologised. I do need to be more
Whatever.
patient, but we do. We get frustrated, especially when they've had like underwhelming seasons, like Martinelli did. And you're talking about actual upgrades, not just get rid of him. We've never like that. It's never just get rid of him.
Martinelli's another one.
It's if you could get an upgrade on that, then you'll do it. But look, I don't even want to talk about selling players or bringing anyone in at the moment. I know that people are looking at Antoine Semedo. I'm not interested in it at all.
That's just
people love it. And is it Ilmaz is another one that the name that keeps on going about.
That squad's staying the same. Unless there's some ridiculous injury, someone to like Rice or something, or Raya, I'll be very, very surprised at this. Okay.
While you're here, Steve, before we go, is there any transfer news for any clubs, anything in the pipeline? I know January's coming up and your time starts to get busy from now on.
It starts getting busy now.
Contract talks or anything?
Yeah, I've taken the liberty of taking a month off. So I've been enjoying some quiet time. So yeah, it's starting to trickle through now, but there's nothing majorly worth talking about. We've heard about the Semedo deal now. We know that he could go in January, but yeah, I don't think he will personally. I still think he'll still be at Bournemouth, and I think he'll probably end up leaving in the summer. Again, it's an early stage, so unless it could be a big injury for one of the big boys, and then they will go in.
Yeah.
But if you're an Arsenal fan and you're looking at Semenyo coming in January, I wouldn't be holding your breath, people.
What's the most likely destination for him? I know a fair few clubs are looking at him. Is there anyone that sort of is more likely to know him up? Is there anyone that's sort of going to put the pressure on Bournemouth to get that sale?
No, I mean you look at Liverpool. I mean they've spent a lot of money in in the summer. So it's hard to think. What is it, 65 million or something, 70 million for Semenyo in January. And they're trying to shoehorn players in as it is already.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they seem to have a lot of players up front. You know, Isaac, TK. They haven't really got a proper left-sided player since Diaz left. So he's someone that I could see fit in there. But then, you know, they've got to juggle TK, and they've got to juggle Gakpo, and then they've got to juggle Isaac in there as well as Semenyo. So if you're a Liverpool fan, you're the Liverpool manager, and you're looking at that, you've only got to think 75 million. Do I pay that now in January? I don't think you do.
You're taking your spending to over 500 million.
Yeah, I don't think
in one season.
I don't think you do. I mean, I think Liverpool made a little bit of a run for their own back, because I feel that they've bought too much, and they've just bought players that have, you know, they've just bought the name instead of the player, and haven't thought about where they're actually going to go and what they're going to do properly.
Mm-hmm.
That seems to be the way it's looking at the minute. But no, and you look at Man City, which, you know, is another club, and you think, like, looking at Jeremy Doku, who for me this season's been stepped up a couple of levels.
Yeah, massively, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's looking really good, really, really good. I love that type of winger. You know, he reminds me of that old-fashioned winger. Get the ball, get your head down and go. Big 3-3-4. I love that. You don't see that nowadays. You really don't see that a lot. And he's effective what he does. Before he was like chicken with a sword, no head or something, running around and not knowing what he's doing.
Yeah, there was a bit too much.
Yeah, more intelligent.
It was too St. Maximum, not enough.
Yeah,
end product.
yeah, perfectly explained. Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, I can't find it hard at the minute to see where he'd like. Because obviously, if you're Semenyo, you want to go and play for one of the top clubs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's difficult to really, put him in somewhere at the moment.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll wait and see. But I've got a funny feeling he'll start Bournemouth.
And what about the Arne Slot? Is he under pressure? Are Liverpool going to stick by him, or is there a few names have been touted around? I know that I saw a couple of Liverpool fans get excited about the prospect of Zidane, but Zidane's always a name which I've always said that I only ever see him managing France. I don't see him managing a club in England. I don't think it appeals to him. I think managing Real Madrid is the pinnacle, and managing France is the other next step for him. So I don't see that happening. But Arne Slot, is his job safe?
I mean, it's safe in my mind. I think there's things because I think off the back of last season, whatever you want to say about how the season panned out, whatever you want to say about he's came into more or less Klopp's team. Okay, he put his own spin on it a bit, but he still had the players there. And at the end of the day, if you're like a title challenging side, you're only as good as how your players are. And I think those Liverpool players knew how to win a title, so because they've done it with Klopp, and a lot of them are still there, so they know how to do it, and they did it again with Arne Slot. And I think the thing that's, if I'm looking I'm looking in as a rival fan, I'm looking at Slot, and I think if there's anything I'm sort of looking at, I'm thinking of now, can you take this team, and we know Arteta can build a team, and get it to the level, and then be at the top. Although we haven't won it, he still can do that. I'm still not 100% sure whether Slot is someone who can, once that Klopp team's broken up a bit, be changing, or players leave like Diaz has, like Trent has, whether he can build a team to challenge and go on from there.
Yeah,
I don't know what you know what I'm saying. I don't
know. Whether he's good enough to transition
to the minute
to the next stage.
He can't. It's because Frimpong seems to be a dodgy bike. Persic isn't working. Verts isn't working. Isaac at the moment, we don't know what the hell's going on there.
Yeah.
So Bradley's not really working. He has the odd good game, but and on the other side, he's putting Szoboszlai right back and all this type of nonsense and all that. So it looks to me like Messi at Liverpool at the minute. So it looks, for me, I'm looking at him to see, can you build on that, or are you going to take him backward? Because even if you don't win the league, even if he doesn't win the league slot with this team, you still want to see progression in that team.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm looking at.
Do you think some people said that Liverpool are transitioning? Do you think that's fair, or do you think it's a bit of a cop-out?
It's a bit of both, really, mate. I get the transitioning part because he's bought 4 or 5 players, and all these 4 or 5 players have got to start, because they're TK, Isaac, Frimpong, Verts, all these players are first-team starters. So normally that's like a transition buys. You buy like 4 or 5 players. That's a team in transition. So I get that. But can you say they're in transition when you're buying those type of players?
And you've still got Salah,
exactly,
and Van Dijk.
Yeah. So it's a transition to the degree where you've bought 5 players in, and somehow you've got to build a new team. That's what people do in transition. But I'm not having it that it's like a full transition like we know.
You get let off. But it's a let off.
It's like a let off. It's like, you've got to just basically take out the word transition. That doesn't exist for you. But you do have to somehow get these 5 new players into this team.
And ticking,
yeah.
I think I for me, I can't I can't have it that Liverpool are transitioning.
No, it's
Yes,
not the right
yes,
word.
there is a transition slightly, but then is it really a transition, or should this be seen as the team that's won the league strengthening their squad? When Man City won the league and brought in a Haaland, that was them strengthening their squad. When Man United won the league and they brought in a Ferdinand, or they brought in a Berbatov or a Tevez, that was them strengthening on at their best. They've just won the league. They strengthen on top of that. I think that Liverpool transitioned when they had. Go on.
Yeah, no, sorry, mate. You can't use the word transition, towards a squad of players, a team, a manager, when at the start of the season, you're still getting tipped by many to say you can win the title.
Win the league, yeah, this is what I mean.
So that's the point.
5 games, it was the same. They're going to run away with this league, and they've got Isaac to add to the team, and then all out of nowhere,
there's a form of it, isn't there? There's a form of transition because you've bought a lot of players. The transition is the wrong word. We got to find another word.
The wrong word. It is the wrong word. Because I feel that Liverpool transitioned when they lost Bobby Firmino and then lost Mane, and they had to transition and how to adapt without them playing. Because at the same time, you can say they lost Henderson as well. So Henderson, Firmino, and Mane. For me, that's a transition. You can add players like Joel Matip in that, and you've transitioned. You've taken the core of your team, the main players in your team, and you've had to change them and adapt with a new team. You did that with Diaz. You did that with Gakpo. You've added to that team. You took out the attacking midfielder vocal point, which was Firmino, who was one of the main players in that team, and you swapped it with someone who was more tenacity in a Jota and a Nunes. You've changed the team. You transitioned to the way you played. This, for me, isn't a transition. You've still got the core. You've still got the guy who absolutely destroyed the Premier League last season, breaking all records left, right, and centre. You've given him a new contract, so you felt that there's still years in him. You did the same with Van Dijk. You felt there's still years in him. And as soon as it started to go awry, you turn around and say it's a transition. I can't buy into that, and I'm not having it.
Same with Manchester City. You can't call that a full transition, like in the sense of the word that we know.
No, it's not. It's not a transition, and no one else really gets that grace. If I'm honest, not when you're talking about just adding to the team.
Manchester United are a transition.
Man United are transitioning because they're completely changing the way they're playing. They're completely changing the formation. They're having to window by window. They're having to bring in players in specific positions to strengthen that squad. And at the moment, you'd probably say they're doing Amarin's doing an all right job of it. He's got them into European positions. I know it's still early. I said I was impressed with the way Man United played against Arsenal at the start of the season, and I think they're going to be all right with him. It's a bit left when they played against Grimsby, but these things happen. These things happen when and the team feel like they're buying into it, and they're looking like they're on the way up. And I'm sure they're going to add in January. They do need to bring in some specialist players in certain positions because playing Dallo and playing Diallo in positions where they're either not doing well or they're out of position can only last for so long. But I think Man United are transitioning and they're doing all right with it as well.
They're progressing in the right way. They're going in the right direction. At the moment, they might drop back. They might go forward. That's what teams in transition do. A couple of times you might go on a little run of 3 or 4 games, and then there might be a little period where you lose the 2 on a trot. That's just transitioning. The most important thing that Man United fans have to do, they can't get too carried away when they win 3 games on the spin, and they can't. It ends the same way if they lose a few. You've got to keep like a straight mind, and just look. If they finish round 7th, 8th, that's good. That's good.
Back in Europe, that's what you want. He's back in Europe, but right now, there's no harm in thinking about getting that 5th spot, 6th spot, or even 4th spot.
I think 5th spot
if English teams do well in the Champions League, and you never know. You really do never know. So and quickly before we go, Man City. Serious contenders for this title. Haaland is going to make sure of that. And they seem to be not the same Man City, but they're looking a lot sharper than they were last season, aren't they?
Oh yeah, mate. Yeah, I mean the last few weeks I've been sort of looking in, keeping a close eye on them, and sort of like nodding with an unfortunate sort of impression.
They turn up again. They decide to turn up again.
Yeah,
and we're looking really good.
Like, hold on a minute, they're going to be a problem.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? They're going to be a problem.
Haaland.
Yeah. I can't work out. I'm not having this like, look, Man City fans, you're not who you was. Do you know what I mean? You're not the team you once was. You're a bit different, and I genuinely believe you need to keep Haaland fit.
100%.
If he goes down, I don't know. I don't know who you got. You've got anyone, have you? Marmoush, I think, isn't it? Marmoush. So you've got to keep Haaland fit, and he's got to keep scoring goals. But like, if he keeps fit, and he keeps scoring goals, and Rodri comes back, then it's all these people that were saying, "Oh, yeah, it's Arsenal, no excuses, and this and that and the other." It's never been that. It was too early to say that, and they're 4 points behind at the minute. And okay, they got a tough game the weekend away to Newcastle. But Arsenal got equally a tough game playing Spurs. So yeah, they're there, mate. They're there. At the moment, it looks like it's an Arsenal, Man City, fight for the title at this moment in time. You can't really see Liverpool at the minute. But things change. But yeah, really, really, really impressed. Nico O'Reilly, we spoke about earlier. Very good. Ryan Cherky. I mean, they definitely swerved one with Verts, didn't they?
Yeah.
I think they played. I had the privilege of actually breaking that news that they was going to sign Ryan Cherky. So it's when things like that happen, you always have this your eye out on these type of players for them to do well.
Yeah.
And 30 million. And he'll get better and better, and Doku's up for it. Sometimes you get seasons, mate, don't you, where even though you think, well, your squad's dodgy, you don't get injuries, they don't get injuries, and the players who haven't been at a level step up.
Start to click, yeah.
That's all it takes to win a league.
Yeah.
If those players to step up for a couple
timing, it is about timing as well. And hopefully it's Arsenal's time. Look, I know we've been here before and people have got PTSD, and which is why we saw some of the reactions to the Sunderland game. But if you'd have asked me if by the second international break, Arsenal will be 4 points ahead at the top of the league after that first 5 games, I'd have bitten your hand off. I'll take it every single day of the week. And we can always look back at games like Sunderland, but I think we need to wait till the end of the season to decide whether that was
8 in front of Liverpool. 8 in front.
Yeah. Well, I think we'll see at the end of the season whether that was a game that has lost us the league. I really don't think it will be. I think Sunderland will take points off many teams at home. That ground's a fortress, and I think that I see it a lot when a team takes points of Arsenal, or a team does well against Arsenal, or a team does well against a big club. You see it in the cup. Always keep an eye on that team to go on a really good run. Always keep an eye on that team to keep that, to hold that, what they did to get those points in those games. And you'll see that reenacted against the likes of Liverpool, against the likes of Man City, Man United, Newcastle. There will all be big games when it comes to that stadium, and and I think we see many teams struggle to get any points from Sunderland in those games.
Gabriel
beating Chelsea away from home as well. Granit Xhaka is making a big difference in that Sunderland team, and we said in the summer.
How many people got that one wrong, didn't they?
We said in the summer that Sunderland have bought really well. Sunderland have bought really well.
Yeah, I remember on the show, and I said that it was my dark horses.
Yeah,
and they're dark horses and some, aren't they? Not dark horses. They were my ones who would shock others.
Yeah.
One I thought was
Yeah.
well
Yeah.
done, and they're proving me right at the moment.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And there's no danger of them going down. Teams
No.
with Granit Xhaka in the team don't go down, don't get relegated.
Yeah, he's you got to love Granit Xhaka, and I'm sure all the people that didn't like him when he was Arsenal had changed their tune by the time that he left. All right, thank you for all your time tonight. If you are new to the show, press that like and subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. If you are a regular, press that like and press that share button. It makes a big difference. And after the show, if you're watching after, press that hype button. It makes a difference. It pushes us up to the top screen so people can find us a lot easier when we go live. Also, if you're watching on Twitter, press that like and press that share button. Get in the comment section as well. It all makes a big, big difference. And if you are on TikTok, you can go and follow me on Kieran AFC, and you can also follow me on the Transfer Exchange Show page as well. We're trying to get to 10K on both of them channels. One's at 6, 8, nearly 7, and one's at nearly 8K as well. So not too far off. And yeah, once we do that, we'll be doing a big giveaway as well. So make sure you're keeping an eye out for that one as well. Thank you for joining us tonight, Steve.
Welcome, mate. Enjoyed it. Thanks for the show. Cheers, mate.
All right. We call this the therapy session.
Yeah.
Get it off your chest. All right. Thank you for joining us tonight, people. Peace out. Stay safe.